Hey everyone, Dockwell here, and welcome to another one of my Dota 2 hero guides. Today we're going to be taking a look at Viper. Viper is a mid hero. He's also been played as offlane, even support at times recently because he's just so strong. He has long range, he does a lot of magic damage and those kinds of things. He can be a really good range support and other stuff like that, but we're going to focus this video on the mid Viper. And mid Viper is one of the most cancerous heroes in Dota. It's so annoying. Everyone hates playing against it, but I'm going to teach you now how to play it so you can, annoy everybody in your games, at least the enemy team, because he's actually really good when he's on your team, but, it really annoys the enemy, especially the enemy mid laner whenever you're up against the Viper, because Viper is a lane-dominating mid. He essentially goes mid and uses his poison damage to just zone out the enemy mid no matter who they are. He pretty much dominates every single mid hero in the game. Now there's some exceptions to that, but really if you play this hero well, you know how to play him, you know how to use him and use him to his strengths, you can pretty much dominate every mid lane with this hero. So what you do is you basically just use your poison damage and your insane range to just basically make it so that the other enemy hero cannot walk up into the lane to get last hits, or they probably are going to die. He's actually similar to Huskar in that way. And then eventually he scales against magic damage, which a lot of, mid heroes are magic damage based. And if they aren't magic damage based, they're usually melee heroes. So he kind of counters them either way, because if it's like a ranged hero, usually they're magic damage based, and then he just scales against that because he has a built-in magic resistance and damage when you actually cast a spell on him. And then if they're a melee hero that does right-click damage later, they usually aren't very strong early, and he can just zone them out of the lane, because any melee hero, this guy will just spit on you. He'll use his ability, basically just use his poison spit and just destroy that melee hero. They pretty much can't even come to lane. So, and once you get the first kill, then it just snowballs from there. He can take the tower, all of that kind of stuff. And so this is one of these heroes that, if you're a new player, if you're a low MR player, you learn this hero to learn how to dominate lanes, because you should be dominating almost every lane. If you're not playing aggressive enough, you're not learning the hero enough. So that's what I'm going to show you today, but that's also how you need to think about the hero. You need to be dominating the lane, winning the lane almost every time. And then once you do that, you can take the tower, you can transition this hero into kind of, not necessarily a ganking hero. He's not very mobile, but you can move around the map with boots of travel. You can build actually as a either magic damage hero or a right click damage hero. You can actually build almost like a ranged carry on this hero, so you can go carry builds, and now he actually can do a good amount of damage to towers, which he never was able to before. So this hero is kind of a good all-around hero, great lane-dominating hero. You can pretty much, if you master this hero, you can gain a ton of MMR if you're new or if you're a lower MMR player. So that's how to think about Viper, this lane-dominating, good scaling hero that is like an anti-magic hero, but also can do right-click damage and those kinds of things from range. He's just a great all-around hero that you should be able to learn. So that's how you think about Viper. Now let's jump into look at his abilities and how he's able to do that. Now that we understand Viper in general, we can take a look at his abilities and see how he's able to be that lane-dominating mid, like I said, that can be really annoying. So first, we're going to take a look at Poison Attack. Basically, he has his normal right-click. This is just a right-click enhancing ability, so when you right-click this on, he just spits out some more green. It's a little bit different animation and makes a noise. And what this does is it applies more damage, but also applies these stacks that reduce magic resistance and also slow the enemy. So if we do this to Axe here, we'll see that he's taking more damage over time, and he's also slowed a lot. So this is your main ability to dominate the lane and be super annoying in the lane to the enemy hero, because basically you sit in the lane, you say, I dare you to come up to the lane, or I'm just going to click a bunch of poison attacks on you. The other thing to keep in mind about Poison Attack is that it doesn't aggro creeps. So like other right-click enhancing abilities, like Searing Arrows or Frost Arrows or those kinds of things from other heroes, this doesn't aggro creeps, so you can stand in the creep wave and the creeps won't attack you as you're using this on the enemy. So that's really important. It's your main lane-dominating ability, and it does a lot of damage even later into the game. The one other thing I will say about this is keep in mind that now the Poison Attack Shard enhancement allows you to do damage to buildings with this, which means that you can build him kind of as a right-click carry and do insane damage to buildings and take buildings really, really quickly with Poison Attack. It's one of the things that makes this hero really good and scale way into the late game as well. So just keep that in mind. It's something you probably should get on this hero all the time, especially if you're looking to carry games by yourself with Viper. So that is Poison Attack, and now we'll look at Nether Toxin, where Poison Attack does damage. It's not really his farming ability, where Nether Toxin is, because it's an AoE ability that you just sit down, it does damage over time in an AoE. So obviously you can use this to farm, push creep waves, all of those kinds of things. Just keep in mind you want to keep all of the creeps inside that AoE as long as possible, just to do the most damage that you can, but also it affects damage, or it does damage kind of over time more as, you know, the creeps stand in it or the heroes stand in it. So just keep that in mind. That is basically his farming ability. You even kind of can put 1 point in this and you'll still be able to farm waves pretty quick and camps pretty quickly. So just keep that in mind. Now, the other big thing that this ability does is it's one of the only breaks in the game. So a break basically just disables enemies' passives. So we see Axe here has this passive, but it won't be able to trigger while he's standing in the Nether Toxin. So this is really good for, you know, Axe against Axe, Slark, Spectre, Bristleback, all of those kinds of things. It's one of the only breaks in the game. It's really good for like saving your teammates, or even you, if someone goes on you or someone goes on your teammates. You just plop this down, and a lot of these carries or like Axe heroes or whatever that rely on that passive to do damage or stay tanky or all those kinds of things, now they no longer have that. So it's really, really good in later game situations against certain heroes. So just keep that in mind with Nether Toxin. Next, we're going to look at Corrosive Skin. This is the passive ability for Viper that just makes him tankier overall. So it gives him magic resistance just passively. And then when he gets attacked by heroes, it applies a debuff that does damage to them, but also decreases their attack speed. So it makes him tankier to magic damage, but also right clicks because of that attack speed debuff, and it just does some damage, so it's kind of just annoying for heroes to do damage to you, especially in the lane, even like 1 or 2 points in this, and it just makes enemies not even want to deal with you, to engage with you early on in the game. So that's Corrosive Skin, just a general overall good ability to make him tankier and those kinds of things and help him out even later into the game. And then lastly, we're going to look at Viper Strike. So Viper Strike is just another really annoying poison ability. So you just basically cast it on somebody and now they're really slowed and taking a ton of damage over time. It's just that simple. So basically, once this hero hits 6, you know, you're attacking them a ton. So you're attacking your enemy. He's trying to run away. He's getting super slowed, you know. You're casting this, so now he's omega slowed. You put the toxin down. He has to stand in it because he can't even walk, and now he just dies. He probably has to TP home, and if he doesn't, he's going to die, and even if he does TP home, he may just die in Fountain. That's how annoying and cancerous this hero can be, but you can see how it can be extremely powerful, especially early on, and because of the way that this hero scales now with this shard, and just in general, you can actually, you know, just dominate the lane with your normal spells, and then you can also build things like Scotty, you can build things that are right-click like Butterfly, BKB, all this kind of stuff, to just be a right-click kind of carry, despite your magic, you know, slow lane domination. Once it gets to mid-late game, you can be a right-click carry and take buildings really quickly. So this is a really good hero for newer players because of all of those things combined. And so you learn how to be aggressive in the lane, you learn how to dominate lanes, and then you can also, you know, carry the game by yourself, essentially, because you're ranged, you're tanky, you do damage to buildings, and a lot of damage to heroes, and all of that kind of stuff. So that is Viper. Those are his abilities, and now we can jump into a game and see how to play him in a game. Now we're jumping into a replay here of Viper mid, played by Leo Style, and I just wanted to show you this replay because I wanted to demonstrate to you how annoying and how good this hero can be early on, how he dominates lanes. So just look at how aggressive he's being in the first minute, the first 30 seconds, the first wave here. He gets the deny on the range creep, he's just spitting on this Visage constantly, and this is against the Visage, who is usually a very good laner, who is usually kind of tanky, who is a ranged hero. So think about if you were, like, not just a ranged hero that had a decent amount of range, but like a melee hero. If you were against a melee hero, you could be bullying the hero even more than he is currently with Viper. And this is not like some crazy play. This is just Viper. This is just basically how you play the hero. He's not doing anything ridiculous. He's not like doing anything that you can't do in Herald bracket. He's just walking up, spitting on the guy with his Q, and doing a ton of damage. And that's pretty much how you play the lane. Now, don't think about the techies or the jungle Huskar. We're not going to worry about that for now. I just want to show you how insane this hero is in the lane. And this is, you know, he's getting pretty low here because early on he's not the tankiest hero, but like basically once he starts spitting on people and once he does that insane slow and gets those stacks up, the enemy hero has to basically commit all or nothing. Like, the Visage has to say, okay, well, I'm so slowed right now, I have so much poison on me that I pretty much just have to commit to try to kill this Viper, and if I don't, I'm just going to die. And that's basically what happens. He just can't walk away. He's insanely slowed. The Viper is a little bit squishy early on, so you do need to be a little bit careful. But you can see how, even against the Visage, a decent laner, a ranged laner as well, he still is just so aggressive and is very, very hard to bring down. You see, look at him again. He's using the very edge of his life, and now he gets a kill. He does die, just barely dies there at the end. If he had a couple misses high ground, he probably would have lived. But now he gets the TP back to the lane, and the enemy has to walk back. So that is an extremely good trade for the mid player. Look at him TPing. The Visage is going to have to walk back. He's just going to dominate this lane from here on out, and he was dominating it earlier on in the beginning of the game anyway. But think about, there's no way that a Visage or a ranged hero in your bracket is going to be as good as the Visage in this one. So there's absolutely no way that they're going to trade like that, that you're probably going to even have to trade like that. You probably just will get 2 kills on the enemy without even having to sacrifice anything. So that is pretty much how you play Viper in the lane. And then this is pretty much the transition here. This is the last thing that I'll say. After you're dominating, you get a point in your Nether Toxin, and then you just start transitioning to pushing out the wave, jungling, being as aggressive as you can. You don't want to like retreat to the jungle completely because you are so strong, but you do want to get your farm up because you are a hero that can carry the game, that can build farming and carry items and all that kind of stuff. And so you will get your Nether Toxin, you'll get your levels, you'll look to be aggressive and kill when you can, like he's doing, but then you can also retreat to the jungle and get your farm. If you're, if the enemy just decides, I'm never going to show up to the lane, you can push the tower, you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can get as much farm as you can push the tower, all of these kinds of things with the hero, and that's pretty much the hero's early game. So that's how to play Viper early, and now we'll transition to a little bit later in the game to show you how you can build him and play him later in the game, kind of as a right-click carry. So we skipped ahead a little bit here, and I just wanted to show you, before we get to like the later portion of the game, how this hero can gank, even though he's relatively slow. If you buy Boots of Travel, you can actually be pretty aggressive on this hero and TP the lanes and help them out from the mid. So you're not just the farming hero, you're not just kind of this tanky hero that sits in one place. You can buy Boots of Travel, you can go around the map, and you really can be aggressive. Once you get on top of somebody and you put your spells on them, it's very hard for them to get away. So we see him do that even at 7 minutes here. He's just snowballing out of control. His net worth is top net worth in the game. He's just controlling the game like crazy here. And that's what you can do on Viper, especially if you go this Boots of Travel build, which honestly is the way to build him currently. And then the other thing that I wanted to show you as he goes to get the rune here, he gets, saves his teammate, is that this is what you want to do after you get aggressive, you kill people, you snowball. You can also farm stacks really well. We see he only has 1 point in Nether Toxin here, but he's able to just spit this on the ground, put the creeps in it, and he's able to basically farm stacks here with this hero and get a ton of farm on this hero. So it's like, this hero can kind of do everything. He's so aggressive in the lane, he dominates the lane. If you buy Boots of Travel or something like that, you get a haste rune, whatever it is, you can run around the map, ganking, killing people with your insane, damage, your insane poison and slows. Then he can also transition later. He can farm the jungle really quickly, even with 1 point in his W, all of that kind of stuff. So this is a great example of mid-game Viper. It's 840. He has 4K net worth. He's just crushing this game right now. And then he's going to transition later on to the game to do a lot of right-click damage and carry the game. And this is pretty much how you play Viper. Aggressively pushing towers, aggressively ganking if you have travel, farming stacks when there's nothing else to do, those kinds of things. And this is basically Viper in a nutshell. Now, we changed replays here to Limp playing Viper because this game is a little bit more, standard. They're barely ahead here, but this is one thing that Viper can do. He can spit on the wave here and push it out without really even being there, so that really pushes the wave in. He's not really with his team, but he can TP mid, he TPs there to push the wave out again, and then he can get, with the Boots of Travel, he can get to his team pretty quickly. And basically, this is how you want to play Viper during the mid to late game. You split push waves because of your Boots of Travel and your tankiness and your ability to get away, but then once you are in fights, you kind of just sit back and you just become this beast of a hero that just spits on everybody. You see how all of the heroes, yes, they're pretty low in general, and they're not really winning the fight, the enemy isn't, but as soon as the Viper shows up, everyone runs away. Like, it was like a 4v3, I believe, at the time, but then Viper shows up, 4v4, the Weaver's kind of low, everyone runs away because they know the Viper's just going to basically kill everyone, do a ton of damage, a ton of control, all of those things. We see he's building carry items. He has a little bit of control here, survivability, split push, then he's building butterfly, satanic, other things like that. You can build these right-click items like Scotty or those kinds of things and be this insane right-click hero that can attack people from such a far range that they can't get on top of you, and then if they ever do get on top of you, you have your BKB to get out and those kinds of things. You also have your tankiness from corrosive skin. This is basically how to play Viper. He's a very, very simple hero. Easy to dominate lanes with, transition to a little bit of farming, a little bit of ganking if you can. Then, showing up to fights, sitting in the back, spitting on people, using your abilities, and just honestly owning fights. And if you ever get in trouble, having that BKB as a backup. It's really, honestly, pretty straightforward and simple to play this Viper hero. So that's why I think it's really, really good for newer players, for lower MMR players, and it's honestly just that simple, just that straightforward. You can easily carry games with this hero. So that's Viper. That's how to play Viper. That's how to think about Viper. I hope this helps you guys. I hope this allows you to gain a lot of MMR. I would suggest if you are a mid player or want to play mid and you're having trouble closing out games or dominating games, try to pick this hero, learn this hero, get good with this hero. I think if higher MMR players can be really good with it and it can have a high win rate, you can stomp pubs with this hero. So that's my Viper guide. I hope it helps everybody. As always, if you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, all of those kinds of things. Join the Discord if you haven't already. I'm taking replay review requests from there. And if you want me to look at your replay review and give you some advice, you can do that at the Discord. The link is below. If you want to get coached by me, I now offer coaching. The link is also below to my Patreon for that. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.